So yeah, a hunter-gatherer, like we said, were people who lived by hunting small animals and gathering plants to live and eat. Now, this will probably make Mr. Ruiz really happy. In some other classes, some people were like, Mr. Seymour, why does it say a people? Right? Because that doesn't sound right. Like, so all that no red ink you've been doing is kind of paying off because people saw that and they're like, a people doesn't make sense. Like, it should be a person, right? Because I know you did that one with like subject verb agreement and all that, right? So a tends to go with the singular, like a person, but a doesn't usually go with a plural, like people. So, like I said, I'm sure Mr. Ruiz is pretty excited that we were able to kind of figure that out. I'm going to sit this right here, if that's okay. But here's the thing, just to kind of help you with this, and it's kind of a confusing thought, but hopefully this will make sense. So sometimes when we're talking about a group of people, right? Even though it's made up of a lot of individual people, it is just one group. So if we think about like our second hour class, there's what, 21, 22 people in here? I think so. So like, I'm not going to count it out, but just to estimate, there's about 20 people in here, right? So those are 20 individuals, 20 persons, right? But as a class, we are all one big group. And so it's kind of the same when we're talking about civilizations or cultures. So the reason why a people is correct is because it's actually short for kind of saying a group of people. But instead of having everyone kind of say this all the time, we just say a people, right? And so the reason we can get away with that is because it's only one group of people, okay? And sometimes in the book, you will hear them say a peoples, like they'll put an S on it, or peoples with an S at the end. That means that they're talking about more than one big group of people, okay? So even though it does sound kind of weird, that actually is correct. So hopefully that helps you to understand why it is correct, okay? All right, so here's what we're going to be working on today. We are going to finish up pages, we're going to finish up lesson 1, topic 1. Okay, so it's pages, like we said, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, you should have had a chance to kind of find the vocabulary words and maybe skim through it a little bit. You're going to get a chance to read this in your groups. As you're reading, I want us to remember learning goal number 4 here. Okay, I can evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of the hunting and gathering lifestyle. I can evaluate the advantages of the hunting and gathering lifestyle. So remember, our word evaluate means to establish the value or effectiveness of something. So basically, what you are going to do as you are reading, we know what a hunter-gatherer is, right? As you read, you're going to learn how they live their lives, how they got food, where they lived, where they moved to, how they moved, what sort of shelters they lived in. You're going to learn a lot about early hunters and gatherers. Some of the things that were dangerous for them, some of the things that they excelled at. So as you're reading and learning about hunting and gathering lifestyle, you're going to create a little chart here. Okay, and you're going to do this in your notes where you have your vocabularies. So in the first column of your chart, you're going to write down what hunter-gatherers did. So this first column is where you're going to write down the stuff like, well, what did they hunt? Or how they hunted? Or what kind of clothes they had? Or what kind of shelters they had? So this is going to be the information from the book, okay? So for example, you might write down that they hunted small animals. Okay? So then in the advantages column, you're going to write down what were the advantages of hunting small animals, right? What was good about that? And we're going to be working with our group because, like I told you yesterday, is the book going to give us a detailed description of that? No. So we have to think about it, right? So what are some advantages of hunting small animals? Well, one, a squirrel or a rabbit is a lot less likely to kill you than a moose or a mammoth or a wolf, right? So one advantage of hunting small animals would be like it's less dangerous. It's safer. What might a disadvantage of hunting small animals be? Yeah.
You don't get as much food.
Don't get as much food. Yeah.
They're fast.
They're fast. It's going to make them harder to catch. Is that what you were going to say? Yeah. Did you have one?
No.
Or no? Okay. Did you have one? There's less meat on them. Okay. Now here's the thing. I would say for each thing over here, you should try to come up with the advantages and disadvantages together. You should be able to come up with at least 4 things, right? For some of them, there might be 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. For some of them, maybe it's really great, so there's going to be 4 advantages and no disadvantages. For some things, it might be kind of terrible, and maybe there's 1 advantage and 3 disadvantages. Now, like I said, you're going to have to kind of think through and work through with your table group to kind of get those advantages and disadvantages figured out. Okay? And you're also going to want to make sure you leave some space between what the hunters gatherers did, so you have room to write down the advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Are there any questions on what I'm asking us to do with this assignment? Yeah. It'll start on halfway through page 9. I think, yes, where it starts off, where did human ancestors live? Halfway down page 9. Okay. All right. So I will give you about 20 minutes to work on this. We'll get back together at 9:10 to make sure that everybody has identified the things that hunters and gatherers did. And we'll fill in any notes that you may have missed. Any questions on that? Okay, you and your groups can go ahead and get started on that.